Hi guys, how are you? Welcome to another show. My name is Laura and this is Pleiadian Healer. And today we are going to talk about something I'm very excited about, the alien visitors, or rather the beings that aren't really from here. So I think it was Yannick who wanted to see an actual video of what someone looks like had they just emerged from a Star Wars episode. So I was just talking about, I think it was in my one live that had to do with beings literally being here, like souls being reincarnated here, who even look like aliens, in my opinion. And then I was mentioning this Geico commercial, and I can't find it, by the way. And I'm actually even not sure if I can play it because of copyright reasons in this video, but I'm sure some of you have seen it. So the Geico commercial is, I think it was a Geico commercial at least, is for a person, well, it's for Geico, but there's a person in it, and it's a man, and he literally switches his outfit and even like his head almost every 2 seconds or so. And it has something to do with what if we just we got to tell people what to do or something. I don't really know what exactly he says in the commercial, but how great is it that we get to tell people? And then I forgot the rest of the sentence that he was saying. But for me, what really stuck when I was tapping into it was basically like, because you do get a lot of signs and everything through these commercials and through certain ads. And I also got a lot of signs through Google commercials, actually, which I'll talk about in this video too. So, for them, for the people, or not the people, the consciousness that's kind of in control of us right now, it is amazing that they get to tell us how to live our lives. And the Geico commercial for me kind of looked like, so it was like a man who was kind of like zoom, then he was in a different outfit, and then zoom, he was kind of like literally just laying off his costumes in that video, like every few milliseconds or second or so, because the commercial is only like 30 seconds long. I was watching it and I was like, wow, they are really messing with our consciousness, and they're really messing with us and the perception that we have of the world. So it was something about how great is it that we get to tell people what's important in their lives, what is important in general, and all of those things. So that really stuck to me. And it was an actor who was doing this, obviously, but for me, he actually looked really foreign and really alien. Like he was just one of those consciousness, alien switching appearances more than once. More than one time. These are aliens who are not from here. They're just observing and meshing with Earth, and they can be seen as distractions. So the main reason I'm making this video or starting this video off is because you need to realize there are souls that have been here for a longer time than other souls or other beings, let's put it that way, because some of these beings actually don't have a soul. And I just call them, the other beings, like aliens or just AI interference. And yeah, I do have videos out there being like, it's all in their eyes, they look like robotoids and clone bodies. But now I'm kind of just thinking more and more, they are actually coming from somewhere entirely different. And they were kind of just planted here. And they're really here to seed a lot of separation, distraction. And for them, it's literally just a game to be here. It's just an adrenaline experience. It's just a game. Being here doesn't mean anything to them. They don't respect Earth, really. They don't really respect the rules of Mother Earth. They don't respect another person's life. So when you come across all of those videos where the mother just killed 2 of her children, or this teenager just slaughtered another teenager and he's laughing at court, all of those videos where you hear about these horrendous things, and you're like, how can humans be so awful? And how can he even laugh at having killed someone? Or when you just come across, I don't know, like all of these very bizarre stories that seem very cruel and almost like that person doesn't really have a soul. In my strong opinion, they might very well not have a soul, because these are just interferences that are messing with us, like with the people, let's just say you and I, who are trying to live our life somehow and who are trying to bring compassion into life, into other people's lives too, by daily interactions with other people. And so they're just spreading all of that separation and distraction into it, especially with the entire George Floyd case and everything. You know, it's just like, it makes, like, the news really highlights these type of stories because it makes us seem like mankind overall is bad. Like I already said in other videos, we as humans are actually very good people. You know, we are kind of meant to take care of others. We're meant to have a strong family unit. We're meant to have compassion for others and all of that. But the distractions that are rolling in, the younger souls or the people who haven't been here for as long as the older souls, are really doing us a number in that sense. So I think it was Yannick who asked, he actually wanted to see a picture of them. And I'm like, well, let's just get completely Star Trek and Star Wars, and I'll show you a picture of a being who I really do think was incarnated on another star, another planet somehow, in exact that same embodiment. And her body is kind of remembering that, her self body memory, meaning her DNA is remembering that. And that's why she developed all of those, they call it tumors in this lifetime, that makes her look like she has a trunk. And when I saw that video pop up on my suggested list on YouTube, so I have a lot of random videos popping up on my suggested YouTube list, as you can already tell. You know, it's obviously not just spiritual stuff or travel stuff. It's literally random things like, oh, this person killed off another person. I'm like, that's awful. But the more I'm looking into that, the more I'm like, this is just a game for them. This is not a person of the same value that an older soul is, as tough as it sounds, and maybe even as ignorant or arrogant it sounds for me to make that statement. I very clearly see that I'm like, no, these beings are, I don't want to call them pigs or whatever, but they're literally just effing with us, effing with our brain, effing with our heart space, desensitizing us to this world too, by really pulling those off. And the more occurrences we have of that, the more we're like, oh yeah, maybe the world is bad. Maybe other people just go around killing other people. And maybe I'm just being too sensitive for thinking that's wrong, right? So that's how they really F with us, the minority of people here who do have a soul. And so I'm just going to go ahead, and I think I can share my screen. I'm going to see, and if not, I'll just blend it in somehow. So share screen. Okay, share. I'm new to this, guys, sorry. Okay, so I'm sharing my screen now. And this is called The Woman with No Face, Born Different. Now, I'm not going to play the sound because they're speaking, I think it's Indian or Indonesian. It's a dialect we wouldn't understand. So the subtitles say everything. This woman here, doesn't she look like she's literally emerged from another planet, you guys? Like legit. When I saw her, I was like, yeah, no wonder you have that stuff in your face. It's because your body's remembering you actually looked like that. Like even how she's drinking. It's this kind of reminds me of a really bad Star Wars episode where Princess Leia and Luke and Chewbacca and Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't know, where all these people were kind of just, you know, having their hood over themselves and going and hiding on like a planet that looks like this, where the beings look like that, right? They have like a trunk out of their face, basically. And she's just explaining how it grew when she aged, but I mean, very clearly she's able to live with that and she's able to feed herself with that. And when she was in the womb, like literally before she was even born, something wasn't normal. So you guys, I'm just putting that out there. People like this exist. Are they highlighted to us on a daily basis, like in the news or whatever? No. This video here got 1 million views and they aired it on April 8th, 2021. So actually just in the right timing for me to show it to you. They're saying nothing could be done. There was a risk of her dying if they had operated. So, I mean, they obviously live in a very rural area somewhere, I don't know, somewhere in Asia, it seems. Maybe there's something in the video description. Yeah, I don't know. I don't want to click away from the video. But you guys, This is mind-blowing, honestly. I mean, she looks like an alien in my opinion. And I'm not trying to make fun of her at all. But if you're telling me she did not have a reincarnation on a planet where she actually looked like this, I don't know what else to say to that. You know, I very strongly think she's carrying that over somehow, and her body's remembering that she looked like that. And then people are just talking about, you know, and this is another thing, like this is actually humanity, like helping her out, being very kind to each other. You know, they're helping her, they're guiding her around because obviously she's having trouble seeing. They're taking care of her, like it's a village taking care of her. So she could have actually very well been like a queen or a king on that other star system. And now everyone who's taking care of her now is kind of was subordinate to her in that previous lifetime or parallel lifetime, whatever you want to call it, right? So very interesting stuff. And that's kind of who I mean by the aliens. Now, this is a very clear example, you guys, like a very, very clear example. Like obviously she even looks like an alien, but other people, it's not so clear with them. And I can tell you one thing, I think most of people here, or a lot of people here are those type of aliens. So I'm going to pause this video because I came across another thing here. Isn't this interesting? KOMAL A, film on child sexual abuse. Isn't that interesting that they're giving us all the signs of what our vice leader of the country could potentially be? Just putting that out there too, because this very clearly, I mean, they spell it different. They spell it like KOMAL, a film on child, na. But if you put the words together, KOMAL, that is very clearly her name, just spelled a little bit differently, but you would definitely pronounce it the same way. You guys, you can't even make this up, honestly. They think we're blatantly dumb, and they could just put a film title like that together and think no one's going to put one and one together. Like, this is how they're giving consent for us to be like, yeah, we're going to keep them in our reality, even though they are horrendous PEDOs and everything. So that's just another thing I wanted to put out there. I thought that was really interesting because while I was, you know, looking that one video up, then like other videos are suggested, and I'm like, what? They're actually showing us what the vice leader of this country actually is, and people aren't catching up to that? Mind blowing, you guys, mind blowing. So I guess the main question here is, why would they just put random aliens on our planet? Now, when I first came out with one of the videos like a week ago or so, where it was all about, you know, it was after my live, where it was kind of like how we were tricked to come here, and it got, you know, a lot of interaction, definitely for sure. And, you know, some people did disagree with my opinion, and that's fine too. You know, I'm fine with people disagreeing and giving their own reasoning and everything. It's kind of like that type of interactive post, I guess. So a few people were like, I don't think they still said, I don't think I was lured here and all of the things. And it's really hard for me to discern if you're just saying that because you're under a certain programming, or if you're saying that because you actually do have insight that you weren't lured here. So especially with new ages, it's really, really hard for me to actually take that statement serious. I'm just going to put that out there too. I'm sure you're a lovely person, but you know, if you're watching my videos over these past 3 months already, or 6 months already, and you're still talking about channeling higher spirit guides, channeling Arcturians, channeling aliens, channeling Pleiadians, and you're also still talking about how you were not tricked to come here, but you're not really providing much else reasoning, I'm just going to assume you're probably under the New Age spell, or you literally just picked something up from other channelers who told you the hopium. And, you know, the hopium is really in effect right now. So hopium is actually just giving false hope, unwarranted hope in regards to a situation. So if you're just saying that because you're following the Dolores Cannon teachings, or you're following other spiritual leaders' teachings who are saying you're here because you're important and you have a mission, I'm probably not going to respond to that anymore, because for me, it's just, we got to move on from that. You know, we really got to talk to the people who are ready to have a different viewpoint on this, because obviously, in all respect, with all due respect, the old truth is not getting us anywhere. The Dolores Cannon teachings aren't really getting us anywhere. I already talked about it briefly in a few videos. The 5D ascension trap, how I like to call it, is just dragging souls further and away from each other. And I just had this instance here personally when I was talking to a person who was, you know, here in the city that I'm in, where we got really agitated about the prick agenda, and, you know, we had a hard time calming us down, because that's what it is. It's really triggering a lot of people, right? And he was just talking about the Celestine prophecies and the book. And he was like literally just putting a fog over my mind the moment I started listening to him. And he almost had me convinced that we're able to create our reality and we're able to ascend into higher realms. But then I got home and I was like, there are so many missing pieces here. But literally listening to him was almost like listening to a spell. So I do think they put you under a spell, by the way. And his eyes seemed very empty while he was saying all of this stuff. They were very empty, spookily empty, like a different entity was talking through him, by the way. So it's very crucial for us right now to stay in our current consciousness and body and not have other entities take over and channel these other entities. Like, do not channel other entities. That's all the best advice I can give to you. And so, I mean, if you want to go out there and channel the Pleiadians or Arcturians, Galactic Federation of Darkness, go ahead, do it. Please waste your time. But for others who are aware enough right now, what I'm saying and also seeing is we have to stay on the same plane. The same goes for Christians too. If you are a newly converted Christian into nothingness or atheism or whatever, like the Christians are also really being dragged into, you know, the false kingdom of heaven prophecy, and I don't even know what they're saying. It's a different topic. So why is understanding these aliens or visitors, I think I called them visitors in previous posts, important right now? So some people commented, I think it was Scotty Boy who commented, being like, he believes some were actually kidnapped and held against their will. Because I said, I see myself kind of agreeing to coming here, but it was under false pretenses, meaning we were tricked to come here. So no matter if they put a contract here, you didn't read the fine print or maybe even signed. It's a good question. I actually didn't tap into whether or not I signed a contract. It must have been a contract though, for a lot of people, like a form of different soul contract or karmic reincarnation trap contract. You know, he says some were actually kidnapped to come here. That's definitely an interesting concept that I want to read on for future videos too. So I'm not going to go too much into that. It could have been that some were kidnapped. What I'm still getting for the majority of energies that I'm actually tapping into, so I haven't really tapped much into the ones that could have been potentially kidnapped or held here against their will, because I think we're all held here against our will, by the way. Whether or not we were kidnapped to come here or tricked to come here somehow under false pretenses, we are held here against our will because we don't know better, because we had the veil over us, and then you just forget, you just reincarnate over and over again. You get from one video game level to the next one without really knowing what you're doing, instead of just turning the entire screen off or turning your Nintendo game off or whatever. No, you're being tricked to still continue and playing this game. And it could be that in between Earth, we were also bouncing on other stars or planets around. You know, some people are talking, they think their last reincarnation was on Mars before they came here and all the things. Yeah, it could have all very well been. But for the purpose of this video, because I want to keep it a little bit shorter this time. So why are the alien visitors important? Because it's basically just another distraction. And the short of it and the essence of it, just like I also said with my recent prick video, it was never really about the V like the deadly disease. It's also essentially not even so much about the prick, but what they're causing with a lot of these things right now is for us to occupy our minds entirely with those worries and fears. Are we going to be able to free ourselves from the control the government is putting us under? Are we going to be able to live our lives to the fullest extent without getting a prick? Are we able to walk around without our masks on again? Are we able to create the reality that we really want to create? Those kind of things. So by pulling off the disease agenda a year ago and essentially the prick agenda with all of that, it's all just a distraction. And yes, it is a distraction for the control they have planned in mind. And in my opinion, it is still that 10-year plan that they're trying to roll out. Absolutely. So we're getting a little bit of a breather right now. And I know people don't like to hear this because they voted for the most recent leader that we had. But what I actually got, you guys, I'm just going to switch topics real quick here too. And I'm not saying I'm endorsing this person at all. But I actually got that right now, we're with the current person who's supposedly in charge, which we know he's not in charge. He's just adhering to other entities that are working through him. So with BIDEN, we're actually getting a breather right now. Because with the last one, it was there was a lot of separation caused. I mean, we know he, not he necessarily, but the media separated, split the people into camps, especially in this country, even all over the world, not just in this country. You know, I was I was in Germany and Australia during 2016 and 2020. Everyone's talking about how he's horrendous, you know, people who are under the control, obviously, and then other people who are more open-minded and see what's really going on. They're talking about how glorious he is. So he really is what he stood for and what the media made him. He really did put that separation wedge in between families, friends, and all of that. And we saw that very clearly when it heated up over this past year, before the actual event that occurred in November, right? So whether or not you like it, because I didn't like this at all when I saw it, because I was wondering, is Earth healing right now? And what I saw is with the election of the person who starts with B, and we all know it wasn't an election of him at all. I'm actually getting a very large percentage, like actually almost up to 80% of people in this country did vote for this person. So a huge majority did vote for this person. That was a large percentage I hadn't gotten before, but with them putting the other person in charge, we're actually getting a little bit of a breather right now, because so many people are so conditioned to believe the person who is, I don't want to say in charge. I don't see him in charge right now. You know what I mean, though? The person who's in the public eye right now is so much better. And, you know, their slogan was even like, just like the video I just showed you of the child abuse implied with her name, right? The slogan of both of those people were, we're going to heal and everything. So ironically, with him kind of disappearing, which I have more insight on that too, because he literally just disappeared, right? We actually are getting a breather. Where I am, a very blue area, and also in California and also in other areas, actually also in parts of Miami when I was there, people do seem more at peace right now, because actually right now they can't blame this person for every mishap that's happening. Yeah, sure, others are completely aggravated, and I understand that position too, obviously. Something was stolen away from us. But, you know, we actually, this country as a whole is getting a breather up until the next moment when, you know, the next event in 4 years or whatever is going to occur, where people have to go out and put a check mark on a paper or whatever. So in an ironic way, we are healing from the huge amount of separation like literally like so much separation that happened over these 4 years. I'm not saying it's a good or a bad thing, but it just really did tear a lot of things apart, right? We're getting a breather. So in a way, we're actually healing. And looking at it from that perspective, it does make me feel a little bit calmer, because because I'm talking about, we have to build a team up. We have to build up a team of conscious people around us to prevent the control that they want to roll out to happen, right? So in that sense, it does make me feel much better that now we can actually really focus on tearing the matrix down, tearing all of this crap down that's keeping us entrapped here and everything. We just got to take it day by day, you guys. We really just got to take it day by day. We better have a team, and we better have a really good team as well. So the alien visitors are distractions in the essence of it. They're cannibals, they're pigs, they're horrendous, like energetically horrendous. They don't belong here. They don't respect Mother Earth. I don't want to say, hey, you don't belong here, you don't belong, but to be honest with you, they don't belong here. They don't belong on Earth, because they're a part of destroying Mother Earth. They brought their entire AI technology with them. Some have been only here for like one incarnation, others have been here for 400 years, maybe others for even longer, like a few thousand years, like since ancient Atlantis or ancient Lemuria. But they're bringing their entire AI technology, which is alien technology, with them. They're converting this planet into AI, or they want to, at least. It's not, Mother Nature still has a say in that too. We have to give credit where it's due. And Mother Earth, look at the volcano eruptions, look at some disasters. Yeah, sure, some were man-made and everything. I agree with you on that too. But, Mother Earth is actually also very powerful. Like Mother Gaia is powerful. I don't want to say Mother Gaia, but Mother Earth is powerful. So it's nature that can actually also strike back in a way or another. But yeah, let's call them barbaric. These alien visitors, and I don't want to say this one woman I showed is barbaric, but because it's really hard when we know these people too, and we're just like, I think you're barbaric, when you yourself are more of those ancient souls, and you've been here for a very long time. We're talking about possibly like 1 billion years or whatever, and you just see how they come here and basically use it, dump their trash here. Like they had McDonald's, they dump their stuff in Mother Nature and then leave, like after a really bad beach trip or something. So that's kind of in the essence of what it is. They're throwing all of these distractions at us too, at the souls who actually can become aware and get the heck out of here, and take a lot of people with them too. I wish I could show you another video, but I can't find it. But there was this one thing, gender reveals, where there was this one family who they almost blew up. Like I think even a father or something died during their gender reveal, but they basically blew up like a large portion of their land with a gender reveal bomb or a racket somehow. I don't even know what they had. And for me, when I saw that, I was like, these are the aliens who don't respect Mother Nature. They're building all of this crap. They're killing themselves, kind of, which you can't really kill consciousness off. So even though the father died, he's probably going to be in the consciousness of the next child or whatever, right? So they're doing all of this crap because it's fun to them. It's literally just like a video game, just like taking the prick to them is like a video game. It's like, let's just see how much poison we can put in our bodies. They're not doing it consciously, but subconsciously, they don't know what's going on at all. For them, it's just a game. It's like, oh yeah, let's just pump our body full with toxins and see how sick we get. That's kind of the mentality that I'm getting from them. And they barely have a higher consciousness or an awareness of a higher consciousness. Let's put it that way. So the murders, the cold-heartedness that we witness on TV, them blowing each other up during gender reveals, that's kind of random, but it's just because I came across that one video that I had to share with you, just by saying that. They're just visitor aliens that just came to Earth for the adrenaline. Kind of like a Star Wars episode. Yeah, let's just go somewhere else for the adrenaline. It's kind of like an amusement park, right? They're visiting all these different planets as well. So zero respect for this planet in and of itself. You know, all the bad news stories and everything that you hear about, that's definitely them. And we need to heal right now. We really need to heal as a collective. When I was tapping into it, there were a lot of tears and a lot of crying that went on. We really need to heal, but they're throwing every single distraction at us. And so for us right now, it's really important to stand in our power. And I think I'll talk about domain name in another video, but having our own domain is very important as well. So I'm not talking about the visitor aliens, obviously. Earth is reclaiming its power, by the way. And then I think I wanted to say one more thing about the visitor aliens. So it's just distractions, beings coming here, just invading the planet, cold-blooded, not caring about the nature and beauty of it, destroying it with their AI, and also their unnatural experiments. You can think probably about a lot of things that are unnatural that are going on right now. The real question is, though, what has really invaded Earth? Is it just them, or is it something else that also came over, like kind of like a rotten apple in the entire pile? And then there was one more thing, and that's kind of why I thought my interview on BitChute with Sister Leona really fits into this too. The entire gender disparity and the entire trans agenda they're really pulling off right now. So the entire, you know, Sister Leona and I were talking about the pronoun game and how I don't resonate with it at all. And when someone actually asks me for my pronouns, I'm like, get the heck out of my face. I'm a woman. I don't use pronouns. I don't have to use pronouns. You know, it's a she and a her. Don't come here with pronouns. You know what I am. I'm a woman, very clearly. Okay. So I do occasionally get triggered by the pronouns, especially here, where you have a lot of those blind alien invaders who try to sell it to you as the new normal, who put it all over their Instagram profiles. He, she, her, him, whatever. And Sister Leona even said it. She was arguing with this person who had every single pronoun in the universe out there. And she's like, you don't even know what you are. You're confused. You're a he and you're a she. Why don't you just call yourself an it? You know, like if you haven't seen the interview, see the interview. I'll link it in the comments section. But, and a lot of people were upset about Sister Leona and calling her a man basher. It's just the way she is, you guys. It's literally just the way she is. I'm sorry that it hurts some egos, but you know, she had a really important message. So the he and him, the pronoun game is basically just a crude joke. It's like an alien game. It's giving genderless aliens a gender. So that sounded like agenda. It's giving these genderless beings an actual gender and kind of like a purpose, right? Oh yeah, it would be cool to reincarnate as a she in this lifetime. Boom. Just like that person in the Geico commercial who just pulled off and all of a sudden he's a woman, he's a man, he's a child. That kind of energy, okay? So it's giving these genderless aliens just another level to their game. It's giving them a purpose. And with the entire trans agenda, it is literally just here to confuse the heck out of everyone. It's another crude joke, basically, but it's specifically supposed to confuse the souls, which honestly, I've never been confused about my gender or my sexual orientation even. I know some people are confused about that too, especially some teenagers that I grew up with. I've never been really confused about any of that. So I think the souls in and of itself, like the people who are more ancient to this planet, they're not easily confused about that at all. But it's more about these other visitor aliens that are kind of pulling with the game and really being distracted by that. Whereas we actually need a lot of people on board right now to not be distracted. So in short, the visitor aliens are just another massive distraction. They can be quite barbaric. Not all of them, but I think a large majority of them. And then there was one more question I want to discuss here, whether or not he is still alive, because there are various accounts where people are saying he is, he's not. Very, very hard to get any information on him, by the way, but I'm getting a yes and a no. And I also said this in a members live like 2 weeks ago. So I'm repeating a few things that I already said to my members, but I think they're important for the public channel. I'm getting a yes and a no. It could have very well been that he may have passed away. When they said he had that illness, whatever, I think it was in October, like right before the actual event in November. It could have been that he very well passed away then, but he lives on as a soul piece elsewhere in different bodies somehow. And honestly, you guys, it could have very well been that we basically voted for a dead person. I mean, I say we, like the people who actually voted for him. It actually does include me. I'm gonna out myself. I cannot get myself to vote for the other party because I know how horrendous they are. And I know some people are like, why are you even voting at all? I'm like, well, it's just part of the game, right? Like I do not give consent to certain things, but I also do not give consent to the other agenda that they want to pull off. So whoever voted for him could have been, we actually voted for a dead body. More people actually did believe in him than he himself did. So I'm actually not sure he really believed in himself that much at the very end of the 4 years. Because if you look at it from a completely neutral perspective, he's originally from here. He's from New York City. Here in New York City, before he even became, well, he was always in the public eye, but before he even was really in the public eye as a candidate and everything, I remember talking to people back in 2010, 2011, 2012, because that's kind of when I came here. And some people had a really adverse reaction to him already, not because of the political party at all, but because they thought he was just a scumbag. And because of the show he had, You're Fired, that type of show. And it's kind of like just cruel what he did and yada, yada. And I never had that adverse reaction to him because I always saw him as a business person. I mean, he is a Gemini too. So, Geminis are kind of interesting creatures, let's put it that way. But, I always kind of connected with him being more of a business person and with him actually having built up an empire. And I kind of do respect that about him, that he built up like the huge towers that you see in certain areas. He has more than one, by the way. Some people who've never been here think he only has one T tower. He has more than one here in the city. He built up an entire empire of things. And with all due respect, he did give people jobs in that case. He did give people a purpose to live with the empire that he built. But he's kind of more like a business person. I always saw him as a business person more than someone who's in politics, right? Which kind of made him the oddball because he was so different from the others, I guess. And so I think at the end of his term, we rarely saw him at all. The entire censorship kicked in. And I do think a lot of that was orchestrated, by the way, that he literally didn't want to be in the public eye anymore, that he literally said, just censor me, take off all my accounts from social media. What did it actually show us? Yes, it did show us how much control they have over Twitter, over Instagram, over Facebook. But to be honest with you, I think he actually asked them to do that too, because he wanted out. It's strange that they did that to him in the last month or two, but they didn't do it to him the year before. Just putting that out there too. I'm not really buying that good side, bad side, good cop, bad. I think he was in it for sure as well to a certain degree, but he's always been an oddball, meaning different from the other controllers. So I kind of do feel it could have very well been that the people who voted for him, myself included, and I'm going to stand to that. I don't care what you guys think about me at all, because I do think a lot of people on this channel were in support of him. I do think that we could have very well voted for his dead body, basically. And because when I really tapped into it, I just didn't get, I know I had like a very interesting journey or reading around the time where the results were being, because it was like a week-long process where they were trying to get through the results and the entire fraud that happened. I couldn't find a solution because I literally had the feeling no one's going to win. They already know who they want to put in power. So all of this is just a menace, a drama, like a theater play. And it's just making us believe we are in power by giving us the illusion that we can vote for someone when at the end of the day, they already know who they want to put in power. And that's pretty much what they did too. So I think he was or he is a business person, and he does deserve respect for that because he did build up his own empires and all of that. Some people think he was corrupt in doing that. Honestly, a lot of people are, just look at the entire real estate agency here in New York City. A lot of people are corrupt, but it doesn't mean they don't. I mean, I think he does deserve respect for what he did. He gave people jobs too, and all of that. But I kind of just felt he didn't want to take a part of it anymore, and that he just wanted out. So whether or not he did something like body snatching, or whether or not, because it kind of feels consciousness is kind of still around, but maybe not in the same body that it would be. It's just the fact that we're not really seeing anything of him anymore is kind of telltale too. There's something hidden that we're not really seeing. So some people are saying he passed away back in October already. Some people are saying it's not true. I got a yes and no on it. So for me, that kind of means it could have very well been that he actually did kind of pass away in a form or another. But that his consciousness kind of just transferred over into another body or another being somehow. And maybe he's just taking a break right now before his soul, his consciousness enters either his old body again or one of his clones. Obviously, it's not going to be his old body, but one of the clones that look like him, or maybe an entirely different body. Because we, even readers like me and people who have an awareness, Dawn and Marshall, everything, we really don't know what technology they have and how they accomplish this body snatching. And to be honest with you, I don't really care that much about it right now either, because for me, it's just another level of the game they're playing. And they've been playing it for eons, centuries, thousands of years, obviously. So that's kind of what I got on him. If you got other information, definitely let me know. I thought it was interesting that I got like a yes and no. And that was kind of like false hope, giving us false hope that we actually could vote him to remain into office. And I know a lot of people were upset about the entire fraud that erupted from that. I mean, it's blatantly on our faces now. So that's a good thing in a way too. All right, I'm going to leave it at that for now, and let me know what resonated. Thank you so much for your support and everything you do, and talk to you very soon. Bye, guys.